is a very, very difficult surface. They play it well, Portland. There were moments in the early stages that you could see guys trying to get to grips with, what it meant, the speed of it, etc. We see it on those odd occasions that we run into these fields, but that we warmed into the game, created some good moments, got ourselves in a good position again. Real determined and positive display, a display that looked like there was some belief in the group that we could actually win the game tonight, which was terrific. And I think barring, one or two decisions that I felt should have gone our way and that little bit of luck, we may well have come away with all three.
Tim Sullivan with the first question of the evening.
Gary, it's been a few games since you've had Teal back now. He's now scored in 3 straight. What sort of boost can he be to your team, and what did you see on the play that ultimately resulted in his goal?
Well, I think we were speaking about this at the weekend. Teal's addition to the group feels very much like a new player, a new forward in the group, with the amount of time that he's had out with, his knee injury. But he's come back with some purpose and some focus and appetite, and really, really pleased for him. It looked to me like a typical forward poaching goal, a lot of action from the set piece. And he was really just, I think, using his instincts to try and find, an area that might well prove fruitful. And it did. The finish, he kept down well. At that point, you're looking for him to find the target, which he did. And terrific to go in front, of course.
Alberto Camargo with the Tennessean.
Hi, Coach. Could you describe what you saw from Portland's game plan against Hani Mukhtar there in the first half? I noticed a defender from their back three would typically follow him anytime he tried to get on the ball. And could you tell us how he reacted to that in the second, leading into what ultimately was that decision you thought didn't go the team's way in the 60th minute there?
I think there were 2 or 3 decisions, and not just that one. But I think they changed their shape slightly. I don't know whether that was due to personnel reasons or if Gio felt as though we would play that way and it might be a better matchup. I've no idea, but they rarely play with 3 centre-backs, this group. Hani's movement and the area he picks up, warrants some attention. And I think we've seen it on multiple occasions now when he gets on the ball. Lots of teams are doing their very utmost, either A, to suffocate what he can do, or B, bring him down and break the play up. And I didn't think it was any different tonight. They did a good job for the most part of keeping him quiet. But what I can't understand is this. On Hani's play, he is the aggressor. He's done tremendously well to beat 1 or 2 players inside the penalty area. And if I'm talking to my defenders, I'm saying, you got problems. If you got a player who's backed you up into the penalty area, you've got to be 100% sure that you're not impeding that player, you're not putting him in a difficult position, or at worst fouling him. Because in the modern game, surely, I think we've all seen and heard of the support and rule changes to look after the creative players, the moments that change games. And I haven't seen it back yet. I saw it on the screen. I saw it in real time, of course. And I can't honestly wrap my head around the fact that Hani's not impeded. He's not. There's not contact there. I just can't understand that. And for the foul to go the other way, because it's deemed that he simulated or simulated contact or dived or wherever you want to put it, and receives the yellow card, is bamboozling, to say the least. But like I said, that wasn't the only situation. What about Alex? What about when Alex is in attacking the edge of the box, the defender's the wrong side of him? How on earth is that deemed that Alex has fouled the guy or dived? Absolutely, I can't make head nor tail of it. I really can't.
Tim Sullivan with the next question.
I don't want you to not be comprehensive here, Gary, but did you get an explanation from the fourth official about the video review on the tackle on Teal?
That was the third one, the second penalty call. Yeah. The fourth official was terrific. You know, he handled it very well. And I know Silva is a terrific referee. He's very, very experienced. And I think in the main, the guys have conducted themselves brilliantly under some very frustrating circumstances. No, in a final third of the season where the playoffs are at stake here. There's nothing to choose between the teams. There was no explanation from the referee at the end on the penalty call until the fourth official suggested that the decision was that he wasn't, when he went to strike the ball, the defender had not actually was not actually impeding him at that point. My question was, and I was trying to explain to him in some sort of coaching escapade on the line, I said, look, you stand in front of me and I'll try and pull you backwards. And if you're in front of the goal, you've got to try and remain balanced. You've got to try and organise your feet, and you've got to try and get a clear shot off to score. If I don't touch you, if I can't make contact with you from behind, guess what? The chances of you getting that right are improved dramatically. Dramatically. I rest my case.
Alberto, go with your follow-up.
Follow-up question, and coaches, like you mentioned, there are 10 matches left in the regular season. This Portland team is pretty close to you guys in the standings. Does this draw, before considering the manner in which the draw came, would you have come into Portland satisfied with a draw with 1 point on the road?
I think our away form in general has been very, very good. No question marks, no concerns, attitude magnificent, focus away from home. You know, I think we've done a very decent job, especially given the circumstances in the early part of the year. When we look back at the end, at the final league table, if we're not above the line, it'll be because of our home form. And there'll be, many situations that we'll look at and say we had good leads, we're in a good position, and we weren't able to turn those leads into 3 points and probably only grab one. But we have a tremendous opportunity in the next 6 games out of 7 to really stamp our authority on the top half of the table. And I think we're moving into that world where, this will be the difference between us being above the line and not. Our away form's been great, though.
We'll go ahead with Claudio Villalobos, and then we'll close the evening with you, Tim.
Gary, my question goes like this: when you decide to pull Hani out, well, that's a decision that obviously it might not have been easy for you, but at the same time, is that something, by the way things happen afterwards, when CJ comes in and Nashville really pushes forward to try to win the game, is that something that you did it just for this game, or we could see that kind of tactical change in the future?
Well, no, there are a couple of things that played into that, Claudio. The first one being the way the game was unfolding. I honestly thought that Hani had given a tremendous effort as per usual, had been effective. Again, maybe should have earned a penalty for us, would have changed the game, of course. But he put a tremendous effort in midweek on turf. And I felt as though if I was going to make a change, looking at the way the game was unfolding, I thought we were getting some joy out wide on the right. There were some nice opportunities to work balls into, problem areas for that back line. The left wing back was getting caught in some strange positions. And I thought having two big guys through the middle might, give us an added impetus and maybe an added focus through the middle from wide areas. The central areas of the field look tight, look more difficult to navigate. But also the extra energy that CJ brought, that physical presence. I just thought it got the guys a little bit higher up the field, and we were able to ask a few more questions. And in the end, like I've said, it's going to be small percentages that make a difference in a lot of these games that we're going to play, away or at home. We've kept a playoff chasing team. Portland will be in the mix. We know that they're in a position to strike, but along with us and probably 8 other teams, there's going to be a real charge for those playoff spots, no doubt.
Gary, last one, I guess, here is what is the team's mindset coming out of this game, going into Toronto? And then I think I asked you a similar version of this question on Saturday night, but how do you guys kind of change your fortunes at home now that you've mentioned that it has been a little bit more of a struggle than your road form has been? Yeah,
honestly, there were moments certainly last week against a good Vancouver team that were very awkward to play against. Some good footballers, awkward shape. We've tried to, maybe switch things up a little bit to get some more attacking presence on the field. But when all said and done, for the majority of the games we played there still, in a new venue that was always going to take a little bit of time to really customise ourselves to and get the best out of, more importantly. We've got ourselves in some good positions. I think, we've got that connection and that understanding and that belief with the crowd, if you like, that there's more to be had. We started off brightly against Vancouver. We get ourselves a lead. There are some small pieces of the puzzle that we've got to, I think, just be a little bit more astute about. Managing the game, understanding the ebb and flow of the game, when to take a chance, when not to, when we need to be a little bit more aggressive and forceful. And I'm talking about individuals now. I'm not talking about the team in general. There's not going to be an awful lot to choose between the teams that we run into for all sorts of reasons. A rejuvenated Toronto team at the weekend with no midweek game. Some incredible talent that are going to come and, enjoy, I would suspect, the stadium that they're going to play in. But the guys have come away from tonight's game, I think, rejuvenated. I sensed a real aggression in their attitude and their presence before and after the game. There's some frustration, of course, that we haven't been able to tip the scales our way, but I'm sensing a really good atmosphere. And I think the guys that have performed, one or two of the players that haven't played tonight will be slightly fresher. One or two guys that have been able to get off. But when all said and done, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tight. There's not going to be a lot to choose between any of the groups. And I think the attitude and focus of our group might be the difference. I'm hoping it will be the difference.
We can walk away happier about the overall performance. I think we talked a lot about, when we do have leads, trying to hold that lead, and if not, at least going after the game in the right way. And I think we saw that today. I think we created enough opportunities to deserve more points from the game. But overall, we'll take the point on the road and excited to get back home where we know that, we can really climb the table if we take advantage of our opportunities there.
Thank you, Sean. We'll open the floor for questions. Team Sullivan with the first one.
Yeah, Sean, I know the final possession numbers weren't necessarily, didn't necessarily tell the story, but it seemed like there were large stretches, especially in the first half, where you guys really concentrated on kind of keeping the ball and being very selective and going forward. It's not necessarily what you guys usually do. How did you feel you guys executed that game plan, and what was kind of your idea of why that was the choice tonight?
Yeah, I think, going into the game, we tried to prepare for a number of different scenarios. We weren't quite sure what they were going to throw at us formation-wise, but I think in the game, we did a good job of evaluating when to play out, when to go long. We had a good mix, and then I think that helped, throw off their rhythm. And from there, we were able to keep possession of the ball, after kind of penetrating their press one or two times, and we knew that they would drop off. And I think that we did a good job, a better job at, slowing the game down with the ball, making better decisions, just keeping the ball moving, keeping it simple. And we knew that they would back off a little. And then, like I mentioned, the most important thing is that I think we generated a lot of good looks at goal. Again, I think we deserve more from the game, but overall happy with the performance.
Claudio Villalobos with the next question.
Sean, and I agree with that. What the team just said about the way the team handled itself in the first half, especially in terms of possession. But it seems like in the second half, the transition for Nashville got a lot better. Even when you look at both halves, what happened in the middle and in recess that actually made you guys accomplish that transition a lot better going forward? It looked really better in the second half.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think we grew as the game went on, and I think we made some good adjustments at halftime. I think that in the second half, we were able to contain their attack a little bit more. They were finding some pockets in the first half that we had to adjust for. And then in the second half, we were able to turn them over. I think they weren't too dangerous in possession. Of course, they had a couple chances, but we were able to turn them over and then, play forward quickly. And, I think that's where a lot of our attackers really thrive in space. And I think that's what you saw. So I think it's a combination of limiting their chances on the ball, trying to keep things compact in the middle, and then winning the ball and transitioning quickly. I think that was effective, and we were able to generate some good looks at goal because of that.
Tim Sullivan with a follow-up.
Yeah, Sean, excuse me. You guys have been bitten a lot on set pieces this year, and that was the case for this team last year, as you probably know too. Especially those second phase set pieces, which is kind of what happened tonight. How did you see that play develop? On which Portland equalized? Excuse me. It's after midnight. I'm sorry. and how do you guys kind of fix that going forward?
Yeah, for sure. It's something that I know we're going to address as much as possible before this next game. And it's something that we have to sharpen up on. When we're talking after the game, I think, we haven't given up a goal in the run of play, at least for a few games now. But that doesn't mean that it's okay to concede on set pieces. And it's an ongoing issue that we have to address as players. There's little details on each and every goal that we've given up that we can improve on. And, I think it just comes down to us on the field being alert. And, I think that's something that we can take responsibility for right away as players. And so it's going to hurt to look back and, again, look at another set piece that we concede on. But you have to look in the mirror and adjust that, because it's preventing us from grabbing as many points as maybe we deserve.
Thank you, Sean. We have time for one more question. Claudio, go ahead.
Sean, perhaps repeating myself about the fact that you guys played a good first half, but was it noticeable as it was from outside? Randall was not much involved for a long period of time in the first half. Was that something of a conversation in halftime? The fact that the player as important as Randall was not able to get the ball as much.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Randall's so important for us, and even when he's not getting on the ball as much as we'd like, and that's of course defenders, midfielders, we have to get him the ball as much as possible, but even then, Randall is so important for the team. He does the work defensively, never complains, and he's just a major piece of this group. And so I think at halftime, he was able to voice his opinion, and I think we found him a lot more in the second half. We could still find him more. That's something we're going to have to take a look at, but he's extremely important for us going forward in transition, and just a guy that brings a lot to the team on both sides of the ball. So it's been awesome playing with him, getting to know him. He's an impressive player, and like I said, a major piece of this team.